Oh dear god, I didn't expect that I will be having to making a video like this soon, but well then, here we go. Well, hello again everyone. Sorry for the lack of updates, and by the time this video is out, the second episode of Dimension Dragon's Owner should already be uploaded. Now, before you start flaming at me in the comments, or even in the comment of the last video, which is the ever mentioning the video, I just want to say that, dear God, I'm sorry for being, ignoring my channel for like the past month. Work been difficult. I've been getting less sleep every single day. Been punching the wall real hard. If that's a good excuse because of my mental illness. And yeah, I think 1 month's break should be enough. But rest assured, the script for everything else, I'm pretty confident that everything should go back to normal routine after I quit my work. Now, before I get any of you alarmed, the contract was for 2 months, so by the 20th of this month, I should already be gone. Gone as in a free man. And I'm recording this before the 20th, so I don't even know when this video is gonna be up. This might be up on the 24th. Or this might be uploaded on the 30th. I don't know. So yeah. Anyways, let's begin. Before you scream at me in the comments again, or why am I doing this series, let me allow to, explain something. My first Honkai Impact series, which is I think Herser of Wind, I didn't took much into account for what's gonna happen via lore. I just pick a character that seems interesting enough and try to comprehend it into a series. But looking back at it, it didn't do good nor bad. It's a rather interesting take in my opinion. So this time, I would like to start off with this will be completely separated from Honkai. So no Honkai lore, no Honkai enemies. Just the character. Now, before you start flaming me about like, if there's no lore, there's no character, then yeah, you have a point. But if I try to put the lore into this one, or any of the other 12 series that will be related to this, it will be a disaster, let's say. Because the old lore and the new lore is completely different. Like, to put it into perspective, this character is from the old era. The last series is from the new era. And the new era is already complicated enough. The old one is dead. Everyone's dead. So by proxy, if we use the lore, she's dead. Well, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that don't flame me too much for this, since again, experimenting is always fun. So let's just begin. For the series called Izumi as Pardofelis, or you can call her Pardo if you want. Now, before I show you the thumbnail of the series and how I'm gonna explain the lore, the kits, the powers, or in this case, the weapons and the ships, I would like to take a moment and explain to you all that this will be in chronological order. We are starting from the 13th to the 1st. So we're starting from Pardo. If I'm not mistaken, next one is Sakura or Hua. Forgive me if I'm mistaken. I haven't played Honkai in like I think over a year since the last time I uploaded HOW. A lot of things have been happening behind the scene that cut my gaming time down to half. So yeah, before we explain everything, here's the title or thumbnail or whatever you want to say. Okay, well, I just did some research before and prior to the cut, and yeah, sorry for the mistake that I made earlier. I think next one will be Hua for the 12th Flame Chaser. Now then, let's get back to the topic at hand, which is Pardo. Pardo ranks 13th of the Flame Chasers of technically old era. She's a laid-back soul. But if we're considering the gameplay and a little bit of her mechanic, in Elysia Realm and also her original gameplay from base game, you can say she's an interesting one. So let's just start off by explaining her powers. Her powers doesn't really have a good representation in game or in lore. The only thing that I can see or remember from like playing her as a character is that her original weapon, which is the weapon that she used both in her splash out and her signature weapon, is sort of like chakrams. You might think of Aphelios chakrams from League of Legends, but it's kind of different. It's more of a like ring type weapon, and in this case it's more of like a baton, so held in both arms and can be split apart. You might think it's sort of similar to something that Yina used in Arena of Valor if you have played that game, which is quite an interesting concept for a character. Now then, excluding her ice power set and her base move, she also have her familiar, Khan, which she can use to deal extra damage, or in this case, in her ultimate, can increase his size and drop him down from space. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to make Khan huge as a goddamn mountain, but apparently that's the case. And he's the fucking cat. Anyways, I digress. Her power set is quite interesting. Reasoning for 13th rank because she considered herself the weakest out of the Flame Chaser. And I don't want to put any spoilers on how she died. Let's just say that it didn't go so well for her in terms of her, train of thought. Let's just say that. Well then, that would be the base game powers. Now, if we're talking about the Elysian Realm version, it's kind of different actually. For Elysian Realm, it took the fact that she's a mysterious merchant, or in this case, you're a black market dealer, to the next level. If you don't know, in the game, there's a subsection called Elysian Realm, and then there will be a shop which she runs, which requires coins. Coins in Elysian Realm and the normal game are different. The amount of coins that you have gathered in Elysian Realm while you have one of her perks activated, it will do one of many things. Either increase your damage, increase the amount of SP you get, which is the special power gauge, or, if I remember correctly, elemental damage and the least, less amount of damage you take. That will come in handy later when we're exploring her story. Now then, will I be adding anything that will give her a considerate buff or nerf? Probably so, because even though she's the weakest out of all the Flame Chasers, I would say that her strength is on the same tier as something that I would say a pro hero. Maybe on the same strength as Aizawa, if I'm being lenient, like very very lenient. Because considering the fact that first she's a feline, a human feline, agility is always up there. Second of all, her mastery of her close combat and her weapons is also very high. You can take away her weapon and she, I would say, considerably performs well. 3 is not even a quirk, and she can use her familiar as she wishes. It's not even like something that she can control. Well, technically she can use it, but it's not something that is directly tied to her. So it's sort of like a low pro hero standard, or like Aizawa tier. Like I said, don't blame me too much. As for the story for this series, it will be more of a focus on, I think, trading. Forgive me if this sounds rough, because this draft is from way back ago, and believe me, this is from 2 years ago when I'm still planning to do all of the Honkai series before I even hit 5k, so that I can start on individual Genshin characters as a story. So forgive me if I mess something up. This has been a long time coming, and plus Honkai have released I don't know, 4 new characters in the span of 2 years or maybe more. I haven't played it, and I have to create a story for that also. So yeah, please don't blame me. It's already hard enough time for me. So as I said, this story will be focused on more trading type. if you have watched something like, if I remember correctly, I don't know the name of the anime, but basically the protagonist is very OP, but he lives the life of a merchant. I forgot the anime. I think it's World End. I have to do research of that. I'll give you an update when I actually made this series to light. I'll put it in like the beginning of the video. I think it's World End Harlem. No, not World End. It's like... Anyway, scratch that. I'll add it when I remember. So yeah. Oh, another thing that I want to mention. Aside from the merchant storyline, she will be a weapon stealer. This also plays into the merchant theme, but also in a way her in-game like personality and lore, because she's the one dealing you, the player, certain upgrades and equipment. It does make sense overall, in my opinion. Now, as for the ships, don't be mad. I know you guys can be mad a lot when stuff like this happens. Since she doesn't have like a quote-unquote canon sexuality, or in this case, well, she have a gender, but sexuality is the correct word. I don't want to offend you guys because Pardo has been shipped with like 10 different people, ranging from Alicia all the way up to Calpus. And if you have played Honkai, then oh dear god, Calpus, you don't really want to mess with him. So let's just say for the time being, the ship will be male to female. So Izumi and someone. In this case, that someone is still unknown. My first thought was Koji from 1A, but then again, Koji is not the best, not the brightest man, or in this case, not the sharpest tool in the shed. So I was thinking along the line of someone like class 1B. And for 1B, I was thinking of like, and forgive me if I don't remember anyone's name because I haven't read MHA in a long time, during actually 1 or 2 months. I think it's the I was planning to do the guy with like I don't know, sharp fangs and lizard skin. Not Setsuna, but I actually Tokage? Yeah, I think it's Tokage. No. I used him for a story once as a starter, but yeah, I don't remember his name. It's been so long. Anyways, I think that pretty much sums it up for what I'm gonna be doing for this series. Aside from one thing, which it will be a spoiler, but I'm happy to give it to you all now. You remember when I told you that every one of the 13 flame chasers died in the beginning? Well, I was sort of wrong. One lived. Actually, 1 or 2. Technically speaking, if my theory is correct about the game, 3 lives. But this is just a theory. But as of me recording this, Kevin lives. Also, I won't be telling his rank. And I think Hua lives. Hua, I think, yeah, is still alive. But I'm not sure where she is right now. And another theory is that the third character is also alive, won't reveal her name. It's just a theory or my personal headcanon. Yeah. The reason that she's the 13th is because she's the weakest. But also, here's the point. She's also the bravest out of them all. That will become a key player in the entire story later. It might sound ridiculous at first, but as the story progresses, that character trait will become something that you have to look out for sometimes. Sometimes her courage will kill her, and sometimes her courage will save her. This will be a key you can be a key major event that will set the tone for the stakes, like how she will act in certain types of way. That's the only spoiler I can give you all now. And another thing, for my personal project out of all this, be sure this is probably, aside from Izuku and Sun Wukong, this probably might be one of the most OP series I have ever done. And I have regretted it when I was making the draft. But then I realized something. She is the reason that the main villain of like the original 20-ish chapters so goddamn fearful. she's still the reason why a post Honkai Odyssey still has him alive. Well, not technically alive, just an image of him alive. Basically, she's the creator of